Okay, excuse me. So last year when we met, we were talking and we met, yes, at the Fifth Wall Conference. And some of the issues that we were experiencing in the industry was the fraud. And it was our on-site teams were doing a manual verification, and we were looking for a solution that would kind of create a very robust, automated solution that would integrate with our property management software system and make the process seamless for our residents and so our applicants. And we met with you and you showed us something that we thought was pretty unique and different in the industry.
Yeah, and it starts off with an amazing customer journey, meaning Camden needs a way to help simplify the application process by giving your modern customer, meaning the customer in 2024, the ability to apply very quickly, which is exactly what we do.
Okay, so at Camden, we are a publicly held multifamily REIT. We are headquartered in Houston, Texas.
Presently, we have 172 communities comprised of approximately 59,000 apartment homes, home to over 100,000 residents.
We are on Fortune's Best Companies to Work For, and over the last 17 years, currently we're at number 33. I think it was really nice because last year's my first time at Fifth Wall's conference, and so I didn't really know what to expect. But what was nice, I think what they set up was that we had expressed a need for fraud and to solve our fraud issue that we were experiencing. And so I think it was kind of nice that they put us together with the various partners that they had and the different companies that would kind of help us fit those needs. And so it was kind of low key. I remember talking at a high top over there. And you said, let me prove that, let me show you what I have. You're gonna like it and you're gonna wanna pilot with this. Initially, our hesitation was whether or not we thought applicants would be accepting of the process, right? Because you're going into the personal information, you're linking your bank account, and so that was one of the biggest objections, but kind of tell me how you kind of walked us through that.
The discussion immediately centered around this fraud question, right? So how do we understand who a person is using information that is as close to the source of truth possible, which is where we started to talk about the different sources of information that we access as part of the application journey. So it's not just a bank account, it's not just payroll, it's not just documents, it's a holistic view as to who this consumer is from an income, from an economic standpoint, such that you're able to tell us, here's what we define as acceptable risk, and conversely, unacceptable risk. And depending on the information that we gather, we give you a recommendation in order for you to process that application orders of magnitude faster and more consistently than what has been the status quo.
So what we found is really interesting is some of the instances of fraud, right? When we were looking at some of our applications that have gone through your program and gone through your platform, we found that some of the things that you found unique to what VERO offers is the ability for us to detect previous applicants at other management companies.
Right, and that's based off the idea that the individual has a fingerprint, a digital fingerprint within VERO, which is unique to us. So we can see within our database who's applied to what property, and if there is information that does not match up with a previous application, that's a red flag that we send back over to you for you to take the appropriate action. But ultimately, the person is individually unique within the database. That obviously creates the transparency that I think you pay us for.
So Lou, when we first met, we met back in March of 2023, and so it took us some time to kind of get to a place where we're ready to pilot. From our perspective, I think the biggest issue that we had was the concern that we might lose out on leasing velocity because people, again, might be deterred by having to link their bank accounts. And so from our perspective, I know that the pilot process probably took us several months to get to the place, but it took a lot of components on how we integrated in with our property management software system. So it seems like it's been a while, but it seems like it was relatively seamless on both parties. But from your perspective, if you want to share a little bit about what were the challenges and the benefits that we had from partnering together and piloting.
The pilot process for us was absolutely pivotal in, I think, determining the success of the partnership going forward. So what we did right from the start is say, here's what success looks like with very clear benchmarks, very clear objectives in terms of, to your point, which we track and send back over to you on a weekly basis. The goal being we can always tailor, change things within the workflow such that you are realizing 100% of the value of what you're paying for, in addition to driving that amazing customer experience that is so important at Camden.
So I think one thing that's probably like crucial with the startup companies that you were able to pivot a little bit more quickly, I think, than companies that have been in business for years, because we tailored our solution for Camden specifically to have you at that, we call it the caboose, at the very tail end, to have the IDV and the income verification after someone's already paid. So that was something that was very beneficial for us to do, is to have that customization and to make sure we could tweak it where we needed to tweak it.
Yeah, and that's the name of the game, right? You may have one workflow for a high fraud risk asset and a totally different workflow for an asset that you're maybe looking to drive occupancy towards. So we can change and tailor that process pursuant to what the business or the technical objectives are for Camden, and to make your team excited to deploy VERO on as many different assets as possible. So we appreciate that you may have, again, a totally different set of goals. What we'd like to do is to work with you hand in glove and understand exactly what those goals are, and then allow us to build that workflow pursuant to whatever the objectives are.
Yeah, so Lou, it's been a pleasure working with you for this past year. So I admire you for what you're doing with your company and the vision that you have, but you're also fun to work with, which is one of our values at Camden, so I appreciate you.
And I appreciate your willingness to take the political capital that it necessarily took to buy VERO in the first place. Thank you. We would not be here without you and your partnership, so thank you very much for believing in us and giving the little guy a shot. And we look forward to a successful partnership.